RuneScape had a bit of an oopsie yesterday, and they totally destroyed. I think that I wonder if Jagex at like their CEO headquarters, they have like a days since the last incident. I wonder if they should, somebody should maybe like get one of those for them. They should buy one of those for the office, because I feel like they need one of these. It's been nuts. CEO change, they need it. Well, now they need another one then.
It's been a little over 24 hours since I uploaded this video, which has been blowing up just like the majority of RuneScape related social media accounts and platforms on Discord, Twitter, and Reddit. The issue I covered in that video is bigger than the Hero Pass drama, and it's bigger because it affects every single RuneScape player, no matter if you prefer old school or RuneScape 3. Having to pay more for less, which is what that video was about, is something no one wants. As a quick reminder, or in case you're watching this video and you haven't watched any of the other drama that people have been putting out, Jagex is toying the plan, which they definitely intend to execute at some point in some shape or form, to get you to pay more for basic account security, having access to both games on a single membership plan, the ability to play without ads that do not exist yet, and you having to pay more simply to retain your current AFK timer, otherwise it would be reduced.
Yeah, they had to roll all of this back. And all of this was happening, it was basically a survey, because they were effectively limit testing. It's like Jagex did the same thing that I do in a video game, where you load into the video game and you immediately try to jump off the edge of something and see if you take fall damage. And it turns out they did take fall damage.
Since that time, which honestly isn't all too long ago, 3 significant developments have taken place. 1, the survey was taken offline. 2, Jagex's CEO Mod Pips replied with a personal letter, and 3, I've had a good night's sleep. No, this video isn't sponsored by a mattress company, but you wouldn't be able to afford it if Jagex continues to increase membership prices like they're planning to do now. Let's go through this reply, shall we? The conjoint membership survey has caused the community frustration, anger, and concern. We made major mistakes with this and are truly sorry. We've heard your feedback loud and clear.
I bet they have.
I wonder where I've heard that word before. I have a feeling Jagex uses this when...
I think that they probably just used it from the last time that they had to post this. It's like they have a boilerplate apology template. And so like they just have like, we're so sorry for the, and then there's blank, end of stress that this has caused. We've heard your feedback loud and clear. Going forward, we will not. And then there's the underline, okay, do this again. Or whatever. It's like basically, yeah, I mean, I feel like they should have a template for it at this point.
Whenever there's drama, and it's their way of saying, yes, we've heard you, but there's a big difference or big discrepancy between hearing something and being an actual good listener. And Jagex, the company, isn't a good listener, but they are really good into tricking you to believe they are by writing messages like these. They use these exact same words around the RuneLite shutdown, and they also use them around Hero Pass. The way we approached this survey was clumsy and inconsiderate, to say the least. We failed to think this through from your perspective as players. We caught up in research mode and rushing a project with a research partner. First of all, putting the blame on another company or partner is a pretty weak excuse. Blaming another company...
It's a weak excuse, but I think it's reasonable. I think that, like, from what my understanding is and things like this, it doesn't seem to be completely impossible that this outcome occurred. But it is definitely annoying to see something like this, definitely.
Which you partnered up with for your own mistake is as weak as a kid named Timmy pointing at Max...
You're being too gracious? No, I'm not. I think that I'm one of the only people, like... This is the problem with a lot of dramas, is that when dramas like this happen, everybody thinks that they know exactly what happened because they've already drawn a conclusion based off of impartial evidence. I try to be as fair as I can and look at like what the probability of different outcomes occurring would be. And sometimes I make mistakes, obviously, but it's a goal that I try to make, and I always try to see things from the other person's perspective. But people always want to get their pitchforks out, and so anytime that I say, okay, wait a minute, maybe this isn't exactly what's happening, then suddenly people sometimes get frustrated.
He peed on the wall when everyone knows Timmy's the one with wet shoes. It's
Yeah.
not only unconvincing, but it also makes Timmy look even guiltier. Second of all, this survey was far from clumsy and inconsiderate. It was carefully crafted and very well put together, if I'm being honest. I actually did the survey after receiving it on some kind of random account that never logs in.
Yeah.
And it was really well put together. We're talking full production for each feature mentioned, individual videos, and an introduction video 2 minutes long. Ignoring the contents of the survey, it was generally very well put together. What was intended as a rigorous methodology for exploring an unfiltered range of ideas you saw as alarming possibilities that appeared to threaten the integrity of the game you love. Duh. It contained
Sure
ideas for
has.
consideration that in the cold light of day just shouldn't have been in there. Again, you wouldn't be serving something you aren't considering. That's ridiculous. There's no way $1 billion
Well, it's not that they aren't considering it, they're limit testing it. So, like, if enough people say yes, then they'll probably do it and implement it in a small way to acclimate people to the changes. And so, like, a really good example of this is the way that microtransactions in games have evolved. Like, so if you look at it in 5-year increments ever since 2005, if you implemented a microtransaction system of today, 5 years ago, people would immediately probably reject it. And if you implemented a microtransaction system from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, people would reject it. So this is what I was saying before about like the boiling of the frog, where it's something that happens over time. And so they're trying to acclimate people to these new types of monetization structures in order to get them to accept them over time. It's the same reason why, like, for example, Netflix would have probably not caught on as much in like 2005 whenever it started, or like, let's say their streaming service, which was 2010. I think it was a little bit before then, but like, let's say 2010, if they had had ads on it at that time, right? There's a lot more people that would have not been okay with that. But now that enough time has passed and people have acclimated too much to the system, now they're willing to stick with it out of just basically tradition, and they're willing to like deal with some degree of degradation.
Company surveys a question that they have no intention of using the data results of. That's a load of horseshit.
Yeah,
You should have paused to consider this properly and avoided the unnecessary worry and anger this has caused. This was an exploration survey intended to test a broad range of features and options around subscriptions. You mean base
Yeah,
features
they're exploring the amount of bullshit that people will put up with. That's exactly right.
and community worlds and
Yeah.
ads, including those from other games to measure how they ranked and compared. The randomness of the survey system presents features, combinations, and prices that, understandably, alarmed many of you.
I wonder
This is
why.
pointing out the obvious because we just had a price increase of 24 to 30%, and Jagex is showing you options that, in the cheapest package, are
Jesus.
28% more expensive. Let's continue reading. It was a major misjudgment to include features that suggested we would consider, you definitely were considering, degrading the game experience or impacting gameplay. Even the mere suggestion of ideas like in-game ads, shorter AFK timers, or making improved player support an additional cost undermined your trust in us. If they would have just asked anyone in the office if this would undermine trust, I'm sure all the developing JMods, you know, the people that we see on live streams that are behind the updates we all love, they would have said it would have undermined trust. Well, the goal was...
I think it's because it was the research partner. And it was a partner that just did a boilerplate, fucking template. I honestly think that they should be really pissed off at this research partner. Because basically what the research partner indicated is that they didn't actually do any of their own research themselves on the product. They didn't look at the product's audience. They didn't look at the way the product was delivered to the audience. All they did was take a cursory glance at the way that the monetization was, and then they tried to port it to make it look a little bit more like Amazon Prime. I think they massively fucked up. Yeah, it's a zero research partner. Exactly. And that's what probably happened. That's not true if you look at the evidence. That doesn't mean anything. You're going to have to say, like, that's not okay. Like, what does that mean? And so anyway, I would legit fire a research partner if I was Jagex. Yeah. And so that's what I think happens with a lot of times is that I actually think that they deferred to the research partner to make all these decisions, and the partner just completely fucked up. But it's extremely easy to say that they should have never done that. And they fucked up by letting them fuck up.
Us to gather data about speculative options, we should have realized these topics would feel like a betrayal of your trust and the guiding principles that makes our game special. I find it hard to believe that a survey around membership and membership perks is speculative. Why would a company include irrelevant questions in a thoughtfully designed survey? It simply doesn't make sense. Surveys like this are tools for gathering actionable information, not placeholders for random ideas. I remember doing my industrial engineering degree, I had to set up like a little startup company, and some questions I asked in my survey to my target audience, my potential customers. Note, Jagex is serving actual or pre-existing customers here. The questions I asked were, hey, how much would you be willing to spend for this product? What colors would you like the most, or which would you be more likely to pick? And we adjusted our pricing and core options based on those answers. And by the way,
all the surveys that you fill out, their reason why they're giving you the surveys is so they can judge what you want and then better understand and give you products that you want. It's that simple. That's the way that anything is. Like, of course they're going to do that.
The colors, we only picked colors we were capable of producing. And the questions regarding to price,
the survey was more planned than that. They had videos for each question. Well, what I'm saying is that I think that Jagex just trusted the research partner to know what they were doing. And so they were just like, okay, well, we're just going to do what they say. We're going to read what they say on the teleprompter, and we're going to see what happens. And I think that they might have had some trepidation, but because the research partner was brought in as an authoritative source, they deferred to their authority. And again, none of this absolves them of fault. What I'm just trying to do is provide a reasonable explanation for what could have happened.
Include any options that would go lower beyond our lowest price point. But we did include options that were maybe higher than what we would expect customers to pay for the product. Now, I'm not sure how strong of an argument that is. I mean, you can't really compare a massive company to a startup, but I just wanted to share my 2 cents. Now let's continue reading into...
No, but every company does that. Like, have you guys ever taken an exit survey or like a survey from like Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves or World of Warcraft? Well, they don't ask you who you voted for, do they? They don't ask you what your favorite kind of shoes are. What they do ask you is how you're interfacing with their products, because that's what matters to them. No way Jagex wouldn't have the final say. No, it's not that they didn't have the final say. It's that they deferred to these research partners who told them that it was the right decision, and they let them make the decision and see what happened. That's the reason why. They did have the final say. They probably okayed it. Of course they okayed it, but they did that because they deferred to the authority of the research partner.
What Jagex has learned, because I'll be honest, I don't think they've ever learned. They keep repeating the same process. But let's just, let's go into this message. This process has reaffirmed just how much you care about our games and what you do or do not want to see in the future. Your clear feedback has reinforced our commitment to the values that drive our games and guide the decisions we make. Beyond testing very early concepts of various kinds, no firm plans were in place, and not a single line of code has been written for any of them.
For sure.
The survey has been halted. I'm not really sure what they're trying to downplay here. It doesn't matter if they haven't started development on any of these options. The problem here, and whether or not they...
Well, why would they develop an option if they haven't decided whether people want it or not? I mean, obviously, they're not going to develop it. They were basing what they were going to develop off of the survey.
Started development on these options or not doesn't really matter, is that they see these options as options when ads have no place in a subscription-based MMO with that many microtransactions. And increased security features...
I think ads are okay if it's a free-to-play game, but it's not okay if you're paying money to get into the game. But the fact is that I actually don't think that my opinion on it is actually true. I think that people would accept ads in a game that's not free to play. And the way that I know that is because of Netflix and Amazon Prime. Both of these services have ads and something that you pay for. There you go.
Exactly a justification to increase the price of membership by 45%. We take your feedback very seriously. We've heard you loud and clear, again, they say it again, and we want to address some of the main issues we saw mentioned in the RuneScape community. Okay, here it comes. Ads in membership. This was originally to be tested in the context of a lower cost ad-supported membership. We will not include in-game advertisements in any regular paid membership. While we may explore ads in free-to-play as a concept...
Regular is the word that's the qualifier here, and they can make a new membership that doesn't necessarily conflict with this. But I think that there's a very big risk in companies that are trying to use effectively like lawyer language in order to push changes like this onto their player base, because a player base isn't going to respect the individual words that are used. They're going to respect the intention behind the words. A regular person reading this is going to come to the conclusion that they will not have ads in any sort of paid membership. Regular being like this sort of word that they're like, oh, well, this is what we really meant by it. That's not the way that people's brains work, right? And so if you're using words to basically like to make yourself technically correct but still confuse people, the goal is still to confuse and mislead people. And I think that's a bad thing. And I think other people will see that too. Read between the lines. What I'm saying is that if you have to read between the lines with what somebody is saying, and it's in a way that's beneficial to them and not you, they're trying to mislead you. Fundamentally, that's what's happening.
Future, there are no plans for this currently, and we will tread carefully considering all feedback. This is exactly the problem with this message. Up here they say beyond testing very early concepts of various kinds, so they started developing concepts. They mention that there are no plans for this currently, yet they also say that they may explore ads in free-to-play. That's indicating towards a plan to add ads to free-to-play, despite... Hold on a second. Mod Pips, I keep saying they, but this is Mod Pips' message. He's speaking for the company. You're literally trying to gaslight us by saying it won't affect you because you're a paying member. We're just going to add it to free-to-play, basically minimizing the concern here, and...
I think that's fine. Am I crazy? I think that's totally fine. If they want to add it to free-to-play, that's okay. I mean, here's the way I look at it, is that if you're like, why is it's not fine? Why is it not? Why? Why is it bad? No, for one reason. What's the reason? The principle? What principle? Because we have a free-to-play community? You have to understand something inside of any sort of business or any sort of transaction. If you are getting something, you have to give something. Whether that's money, time, information, or some form of labor, you have to give something. So if you're playing free-to-play and they're not able to monetize the accounts that are free-to-play, then they have to put ads in there in order to do that, or they can't have free-to-play accounts. It's that simple. So if it's not financially viable, or they think that it's okay, then I think it's fine. Why do so many chatters have a fairy tale view on how the world works? Because they don't want to do it. It's that simple. Like, there's no real, there's no logic to this at all. Obviously, if you're playing a game free to play, you have to, of course, pay for it somehow, right? Because if you're just playing for free, then how is the company going to make any money? Again, I know that people like being outraged and they like getting mad, but what I'm saying here makes a lot of sense.
Simultaneously also planting seeds for future possibilities, because once ads are in free-to-play, you can damn well say they're going to be added to members at some point as well. Kind of makes me wonder how much revenue they think they can get out of adding ads to free-to-play. I can't imagine it being that much, unless ads pay a lot to be in a video game. I feel like getting in more members by producing more content is form of...
Ads pay a lot. They do. That's why every website has ads.
Profitable. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. There's a reason they're considering this.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, AFK timer. Similarly, this was originally included in the context of a lower cost membership option, but we will not be reducing AFK timers for any paid membership from where they are today. Okay, good. Player support. You want improved player support, and this should not require additional charges. We agree. Then why pull it or serve it at all? You've given us deep feedback on this, including in the recent player support survey. We understand the frustrations players have with the existing support systems, and whilst we understand any doubt you might have, we're already making positive progress on this front. And yes, you wanted to charge us more for it. Let's not forget that here. We want to make sure our baseline support offering meets your expectations, regardless of the content and feedback from the recent survey. We hope to be able to talk more about this soon. General principles. We will never degrade or fundamentally change the gameplay experience on offer between subscribers.
Well, that's hard to say. Yeah, I think if a product model for free-to-play RuneScape always works, just give the game enough. You want to compare to pay-to-pay, it works pretty well, but this is clearly not well enough. If you're playing free-to-play and not giving them anything, you haven't figured out what you're giving them yet. Well, I think that a lot of times, like, that's not really true. So a lot of games base things off of, like, the average amount of money spent. So, like, just because some people's number is 0, well, other people's number is, like, 70. So, like, it averages out to a dollar amount. So basically, you have some people that are effectively freeloaders, and then you have other people that make up for it. That's the way the gacha games work with whales. Like, whales in a lot of these free-to-play games make up the vast majority of the amount of money sold, or the amount of, like, items sold and stuff like that. Asmon doesn't understand OSRS. Well, what am I not understanding here? Like, I don't understand, like, what's the point? So, like, all I'm saying is that there's a free-to-play game. If a free-to-play game has ads in it, I don't think that's a big deal. I think if you're paying for it, then it is a big deal. But I don't think that a free-to-play game with ads is a big deal. Sorry.
This might just be the most important sentence of the entire survey. This is the Jagex CEO saying we will never degrade or fundamentally change the gameplay experience on offer between subscribers. Then what exactly is adding community worlds, which is basically modded RuneScape custom servers, to an increased or more expensive membership tier? Community servers are literally a way of modifying your own RuneScape server.
Of course,
and that's definitely gameplay changing. The fact that this sentence is in this message shows that this guy right here, commenting on every video, no matter if it's a guide or something unrelated to Jagex,
yeah,
he always says Jagex lies. The next section about what's next is a bunch of crap. They're saying, oh, we're learning, it's giving us valuable insights, and we're committed to protecting the core principles of our games. And really, what they are trying to do is the exact opposite. Nothing about this survey message makes me believe they're protecting the core principles of RuneScape. What exactly are they?
I think in 5 to 10 years, there will be a service that you can pay for inside of RuneScape that there will be a limited amount of ads in it. We can clip it and see what happens in 5 to 10 years, but I think that there are enough use cases of subscription services using limited ads with a cheaper baseline price that I think more companies are going to do it. And I think that as soon as players start accepting one type of it, then it becomes acceptable across the entire market. The game will die before then. I don't think that it will kill the game because it didn't kill Netflix and it didn't kill Amazon Prime. I don't think so. And also, like, you can buy gold in the game, right, with bonds. So, like, if buying gold doesn't kill the game, then I feel like this probably wouldn't either. Yeah, I reset to Netflix because this model, yeah. You don't play, you don't even know. It doesn't matter if I play or not. I know how people behave to these changes because I've observed all of these subscriptions and how they've changed over the years. I've observed 20 or 30 different subscriptions over the last 20 years. To say that this one is somehow some kind of special, unique thing with all of these people being unicorns that are totally different from everybody else, that's crazy. And also, this is clearly the way that things are going. And also, I bet 10 years ago, probably a lot of the systems that are in the game now would be unthinkable to the player base at that time. I think that people really underestimate how much they're getting boiled. I don't think people even understand it. Like, the idea of playing an MMO early, like, just by paying extra money to play it, this would be unthinkable in 10 years ago. Like, think in 2015, 2014, Like that, oh, you can play an MMO early and get an advantage over everybody if you pay like $30 extra. People would be up in arms about this. No, I think people are vastly underestimating how easy it is to boil. You're just boiling the fans.
Those core principles, Mod Pips. And what are some specific, measurable, and relevant actions you have taken to improve those principles and the game, and within what kind of timeline can we expect to hear back from you? All of these damage control posts are the same. How many times are you going to say that you've heard our feedback, we'll do better, and you'll be working more with the community? How does that fix the problem?
Every time that you have a situation.
You aren't solving the root cause. In fact, you're barely solving the direct cause of this issue. Your solution is barely a band-aid. What clear, defined actions
it's a delay.
Have you taken
That's
to
what
ensure this never happens again? And what concrete promises can we look forward to that will actually make us feel heard and valued moving forward? By the way, there are some clear differences between the old school RuneScape letter and the RuneScape 3 letter. The RuneScape 3 letter is more generalized, and the old school RuneScape letter is more specific to the old school RuneScape players.
That makes sense.
And mentions unique concerns such as plugins and exclusive worlds, while the RuneScape 3 letter doesn't and is more generalized. With that being said, I hope I informed you with this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below, and especially if you're interested in sharing your thoughts, drop a comment, and also make sure your voice is heard on other platforms, because this, what Jagex is doing right now, is unacceptable. And there are many times where I would say the game is properly going downhill, but this is one of them.
I think it's going to keep getting worse. I do. And I think it's getting worse with every single video game. Every single video game is increasing the scope of things that they're monetizing. And I don't think that people understand or respect how big it's getting. Like, and it's, you think, what is this? Tired? Yeah, no, what's this business doing stuff that's unacceptable? Well, there's the video. Make sure to give it a like. This Protox guy, he made a video yesterday about the situation. I watched that one too. And I honestly think that he's right about a lot of this stuff. But what I don't think that he's right about is the community not accepting it. I think that, again, all you have to do is you just wait until the market changes. And then after the market changes enough, then you can take advantage of these systems and do them as much as possible. Can we stop the boiling? Can players collectively stop the boiling? Theoretically, yes. Functionally, no. It's the same reason why we don't have a revolution. There are too many people that are complacent and comfortable. And in almost all cases, most people, their comfort is not really affected by these smaller things. And so, and also there's another problem that a lot of people don't really care because it gets normalized. And I think that whenever we're in an echo chamber of people that are like hyper fixated on video game stuff, we start thinking that we're the majority and that everybody thinks like we do. Well, if you look at the most popular games, things like Fortnite, Genshin Impact, etc., it sure seems like that's not the case, right? Because if you watched my stream and you watched my videos, and my videos get millions of views, a lot of people watch these videos, but we're still a minority because you have people that are collectively spending hundreds of millions of dollars. Somebody said earlier, billions of dollars on Ultimate Team for FIFA every single year. So the problem isn't that our votes don't matter. It's that we're still getting outvoted. And so that's really, the numbers don't lie. Yeah, the numbers don't lie. And I think also, again, it's very easy to manipulate, like, the average person. It's extremely easy to do it. And in a lot of cases, you see it happen all the time. And I always use the example with, like, lying Ted, right? With, like, oh, yeah, well, if you want to discourage somebody, just, like, say that they're lying about everything, and then people will just believe it, right? People are also complacent with gotcha. Think about how much different it is now, okay? I want you to go back to 2019 before COVID and think about how much gotcha mechanics and gotcha games were disliked in the West. And then I want you to come back to today. And I want you to look at how big of a difference that is and respect how much things have changed. The golden age? Yes, exactly, right? They still kind of are, though. But what I'm saying is that, like, for example, there are still some people that hate all microtransactions. They hate all microtransactions, but what I'm saying is that is a smaller amount of people every single year, Because here's what's happening. So you're having older people who have less time playing video games, so they're more okay with spending money because they have more money to spend. So there's definitely that group of people. And then you have younger people that are getting into video games, and they've grown up with these games that are monetized because that's how games have been for 10 years. So like if you're 15, you've grown up with microtransactions all in video games, and everything's like that. And then also video games are trailing off for people that are older. Like I know for me, and I know for a lot of you guys, for example, there are probably less 45-year-olds that play video games than 35-year-olds. And I think that this will always be the case because it's an intensive leisure activity. And as you get older, your responsibilities increase. And so you have less time to spend on things like that. It's just logical. And so anyway, this is what I think is going to happen. So they get slow boiled. Yeah, I think in some cases, right? Definitely. And do you understand why OSRS was created in the first place and why a mass migration of players of RuneScape 3 occurred in 2013? What is your point? Do I understand it? Yeah, of course I understand it. That doesn't mean anything. Like, yeah, people didn't like the new game, so they wanted the old game back, and they brought the old game back. Okay, yeah, wow, what a surprise. Like, that's not like, okay, so under that logic, that's exactly why they brought back a fucking Classic WoW. And now you can buy things in Classic WoW. So no, I don't think that's a difference. And I think that people still accept stuff. And people are way more, like, especially whenever it came out, people are way more, like, fucking, I don't know, like, extreme with Classic WoW. It doesn't matter. It was due to over monetization. Yeah, and that was a big reason why people didn't like people wanted Classic WoW. Like, that was the same thing. That was a big thing, especially after the WoW token got added. People always liked the fact that in Classic WoW, oh, well, you had to earn your money. You couldn't just buy it with WoW tokens. Well, look how that turned out. So I can confirm this absolutely. Someone who's a somewhat mobile gamer, I can confirm this is absolutely fucking true. And again, and there are far worse issues in the world rather than gaming drama. Yeah, this is a nice vacation, isn't it? And so I think this is what's going to happen with a lot of video games, is that you're going to see, okay, I'm actually going to make a list, okay? Things that you can start expecting to see more of in the coming years with games. Ads in games and or ads that you can voluntarily watch to gain small amounts of currency. Okay, so there's number one. Let's see what. Let's think of some other ones. Number two, early access becoming, early access becoming the norm, and then also being applied to patches and not just the release of the game. So what I mean by this is that, for example, let's use Genshin Impact as an example. In Genshin Impact, I foresee that in patch 8.4, if it's still around, you might be able to, if you purchase the battle pass of the game, the deluxe battle pass, you may be able to play the game 2 days early. I think that's what's going to happen. And so, yeah, it's genius. It's a good idea. It's a great idea. So speculation? Yeah, of course this is speculation. What did you think it was? I'm not a wizard. Early access is cringe. WoW did it? Yeah. And nobody would buy that shit? I don't know what to say. Naivete is so refreshing. It is. Anime titties and their consequences. I guess so. And let's see. Why are we making a list to help them boil us? Well, I mean, hey, it's inevitable. It doesn't matter. It's like me calculating the amount of years that it will take for the sun to explode and destroy the Earth isn't going to make it happen any faster, okay? This is just what's going to happen. Do you feel like there's an affinity of player style with current? I don't know about that. Let's see. What are some of the other examples? Please do that. Do you want me to speed it up? Maybe have it happen tomorrow. You have a test on, like, you know, Monday or so. You don't want to have to do it. DLC announced before the game is released. Oh, that's actually a really good one. DLC released at the same time as the base game. This will become more common. Seasonal passes for games that enable you to interact with new content earlier at all. And this was done in Star Wars Outlaws. FOMO, yeah, basically FOMO is going to be another really big one. Also, this is another big one. Games will start to introduce marketplaces that are similar to CSGO for item trades and selling, collecting profits from transactions fees. This is also going to become more common as well. CSGO is doing this right now. It's going extremely well, and it's going to continue. And it'll be on the blockchain. It will not be on the blockchain because there's no reason for it to be. Why would the company want to give any degree of transparency or accountability to themselves when they have complete ownership of the IP? Why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense. Didn't Blizzard already do that and failed? No. And if they did, then Valve did it right. Regulation will come in. Well, they didn't come in with CSGO. I doubt it'll come in with this, but maybe you're right. I think we'll have to wait and see. They'll start to embed ads at the kernel level like anti-cheat. Oh yeah, priority logins. Well, they already have that. But yeah, I think we can add that. Priority login system that is tiered based off of subscriptions. So, like, for example, like if you have a Game Pass subscription, if you have the premium version of a Game Pass subscription, you'll be able to get into the game earlier than somebody who has a baseline subscription. Like, assuming that there's any sort of a server queue or like a queuing system at all in the game, right? Marvel Strike Force has a lot of these. And here's the thing that's really funny about this. Almost all of these cases are things that have already happened, and all I'm arguing for is the proliferation of them. I'm not arguing that they're going to invent new things, because the new things that they are going to invent, I can't even think of, right? Or I'd have to sit down and really think of them. But these are all things that have already been happening. Will people eat shit or fight? People will eat shit. They will keep eating shit. And I'll tell you why. It's because they're trained to, and they're stupid. Video game players are some of the most weak-willed, like, no self-control group in the entire world. Like, they're almost defined by that. This is the same thing with gacha games. I mean, you basically, what you've done is you've distilled down the most emotionally unstable, decision, fucking, like, brain-broken people that you can possibly have. And you've collected them, and they're called your fan base. These are people who can't, by definition, have problems with impulse control. And you think that they're going to be able to exercise their better judgment? Absolutely not, they're not. There's no way they will. And I think that's the difference, and that's what's going to happen. QuickTime events for ads to check if you're watching. That won't be for a while. And so they're already putting it in there. Yeah, exactly. You're cooking us too much. And I think that Twitch is a really great example of this. Twitch recently has been going down in viewership. So if I pull up Twitch Tracker, so you can pull up Twitch Tracker and see this for yourself. But if you look at the overview right now, you'll see Twitch has been going up and down a little bit. Does this graph correlate with the amount of ads that are being pushed on Twitch? No, it does not. It does not correlate. And so that's the 2020 rise? Yes, exactly. And so what I'm saying is that, yeah, I hope the verification cans come in different tastes. Nope, it's only the yellow ones. That's it. And rise in popularity after ads pushed? Yes, exactly. And so you see this happen a lot. And because people stream on YouTube? No, YouTube streaming is not as big for gaming as Twitch is. And also people are doing both. But you're seeing the viewership for Twitch stay relatively the same, even though everybody complains about Twitch ads. So this idea that everybody leaves when Twitch ads are on, it's clearly just not true. I disagree. I think a lot of gamers will get out of the pod, especially older gamers. Gen Z gamers, though, yeah, they'll keep feeding the industry. Well, what I'm saying is that you're right. Actually, that's a great point. So do you remember like that video of that older guy that I think his name is Tim Kaine, the creator of Fallout? And like I'll watch some of his videos and he says, yeah, I just play single player games now. You're always going to have the boomer gamers that are going to move out of the pot and say, no, I don't want to be part of this anymore. But the difference of what the change is going to be is that they're going to be replaced by people that are okay with it. Because the audience of people that played video games, the exact people, like the individuals, like you at 5 years old, let's say in 1995, if you're my age, those exact people are not all playing video games today, and that demographic is not the exact same. And the 40-year-olds that were playing video games in 1995 might not still be playing them now for various reasons. They could be dead, or they could just be doing other things. So what happens is that the gaming industry is going to keep changing, and the demographics are going to keep changing. And while I think that the age is going to trend up, and like in general, like gamers will age up and they will continue playing games, there will be fall off. And that fall off will be replaced with younger gamers that are more okay with it. And I think that's what the difference is going to be, and that's what's going to happen. That's where we're going to be. And we're still gamer, bro? Yes. That would be true if demographics allow it? Yes. Bro, 40-year-olds are still buying Diablo 4 collector's editions and mounts in a store. So many dads are into this shit. That's because for a lot of people, the reason why they didn't like pay to win is because they couldn't pay to win. As soon as some people can pay to win, they're okay with pay to win. Most people's values and principles are completely self-serving. They don't care about this in principle. They don't care about the actual issue itself. They only care about how this issue affects them and affects what their position is. And so, like, as soon as now you have these people that are older, like, how many of you guys, maybe people wouldn't want to admit it themselves, but how many of you guys know someone who was, like, very, very against pay to win, but now they play pay to win games every once in a while? And one of the big differences between now and then is that then they were a broke college student or in high school, but now they've got a job and they can pay for it. I'm not, yep, there it is, right? So I think that you're burning the candle at both ends. You've got boomers that can spend the money who don't care anymore. And then you've got zoomers who were born into it and they've never seen the light. And that's it. And in the middle, you have this small little subset of age, I would say 20 to 40-year-old gamers who remember the golden ages where every single game had the monetization structure of Baldur's Gate 3. And every year, that number gets smaller. That's it. We are a dying breed. The PS2 era was peak? Yep, that's right. What about indie devs in the future? There's always going to be games that don't have pay to win in them. That's always what's going to happen. There's nothing that's like weird about that or different or unique or anything like that. Of course, that's what's going to happen. Yeah. You're going to have plenty of things like that continue, and that's not a bad thing at all. I think it's actually quite a good thing. But I also don't think it's going to continue in like a very big way either. So I feel like that's what's going to happen more than anything else. This is a cute example. You remember when skins were first introduced in gaming and people are mad as fuck? Just look at where we're at now. Exactly. And I think that Twitch is a really great example. Like, streamers used to get a lot of hate for running ads or like doing a sponsored game. Like, I remember Towley, for example. People were really, really, really mad at Towley for playing sponsored games back in like 2012 or 2013. Now, nobody cares. Yeah, people would call a streamer a sellout. Exactly. Because everybody does it. And that's what's going to happen with all kinds of stuff. I care. It doesn't matter if you care. Like, again, people like to personalize these things because they think that it gives them like some degree of agency of changing them. But the reality is that it won't really make a difference. YouTubers were doing ad reads was also bad. Yeah. YouTubers are doing tons of ad reads now and it's completely normalized. Remember when Twitch first implemented mid-roll ads and people were so mad they had to walk it back? I remember where I was when that happened. I was doing a daily quest in the Broken Shores in Legion. And I remember my viewers were getting ads and people were complaining. They said, what the fuck? We're getting an ad in the middle of your stream. I said, no, you're not. Like, shut up, you idiot. And they started sending me screenshots. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Let me see if I can find it. $18, maybe? Forcing streamers to run ads. The end of... Bro. Please give me the chess piece. People are complaining about a lot of ads today. Are people getting ads in the middle of my stream today? Like, not just... By the way, I just want to bring up the fact that I remember this perfectly. Pre-rolls, but like in the middle of my stream today? Yes, a lot. Every 5 minutes? Ads every 10 minutes? What? As a sub, I blocked 124 ads already? I don't know what to say. This says right here. I don't know if this guy's being serious or not, right? Gotta be a spurg to say it, but I've gotten 23 ads since 5 minutes into your stream. Just started today. 2 ads back to back, and it just says commercial break in progress. Lasts about 20 to 30 seconds, followed by 3 to 5 seconds of black screen. Same thing happened to me. Had the Twitch my stream. Run ads for the costume contest. Like I'm not happy about this. Let me say that. Look at this right here. They're doing this to my stream. Look at this. That's a fucking ad right there. Here's another fucking ad right here. This is crazy. Commercial break in progress? Commercial break in progress? For the past 2 months, Asmongold is in the top 30 channels that run ads? What the fuck? No, I'm not.
I'm not
shit,
now.
Hassan's rich.
Number 1. Oh God. He's number 1 by a mile. Oh God. Jesus. And so let's read some of the comments. Twitch is officially dead now. No music, no ads, GG. I don't watch his streams. It's extremely annoying. No competition. I stopped watching your Twitch and only watch your YouTube for reference. And now YouTube has ads. Man, Twitch streaming is going to end up dying. That sucks.
I feel really bad for these guys, man. I really do. We were so innocent back then. We were. And a streamer should be able to decide what ads get played. Look at all this. Rip Twitch. Greed has no this is from 4 years ago, guys. October 31st, 2020. Look at this. Imagine getting an ad when Mail Muncher dropped. Imagine getting an ad when he's announcing top 5 in Transmog Comp. Imagine getting an ad mid some important event. Imagine getting an ad here. You don't have to imagine that anymore. That's reality. That's your life, and it's happening to you right now. There you go. I found a use case for today's discussion. Outrage failed. They did. And I see, the thing is that I remember a lot of stuff, right? I have very, very, very good memory. And because I have a very good memory, I remember all these things that people said. I remember the comments that they made 4 years ago. I remember the place that I was at. I remember the shirt that I was wearing. I remember the way that I felt. I remember everything about it. And so when I think back to these moments, I remember the way that people said this shit. I remember what they thought, and I remember all the ways that they were wrong. That's it. What did you eat 2 days ago? Well, that's not a very good question because the answer would have been the same any day. Chipotle. I ate Chipotle 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I ate Chipotle 2 days ago. 4 days ago, I ate Chipotle 2 days ago. 6 days ago, I ate Chipotle 2 days ago. It's that simple. And so, yes, that's called consistency. Yep, there it is. Just get a VPN. Oh, man. Well, and I think that, again, like, if you see this kind of stuff, like watching some of these older videos, it's really funny for me to see this because it shows how much people were completely wrong about so many of these topics. And always change in the same order. Yeah, I pretty much get the same order every single time. Absolutely. New limits on free speech policies on Twitch. Like, look at that. Like, everything is totally fucking different. And there it is. Wow. After stream runs ads 2 years ago. There you go. Oh my god. Time to leave. Asmongold concerned about Twitch forcing more ads on his viewers. And your favorite streamer, but you're in Austin, have access to some of the best Mexican food, and you choose Chipotle. Damn, brother. Yeah, it's convenient. Sorry. And yeah, start the war with another country. No ads in Russia anymore. Yeah, true. And I could have told you it wouldn't kill the platform. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that everybody was adamant that if they ran ads, they would stop watching Twitch. And they were all lying. And even, you know what? That's not true. I bet some of them weren't lying. I bet some of them actually did watch Twitch, and they got replaced by somebody who did a minute later.